Yes, we know our grand final teams. It's going to be Geelong and Brisbane in the AFL. Bitter disappointment for Raiders fans as they go out in straight sets. We know the final four in the NRL. We'll talk a bit of NFL, talk some EPL, look back at the mega fight last week between Canelo and Bud Crawford. UFC 320 only a couple of weeks away, and F1 Baku kicking off in about an hour. Plenty to talk about, as always, on the Esky. It's an Aussie sports podcast. We like our Aussie sport. We like our US sport. We like to have a bit of a laugh and a dribble. On the YouTube, we will have some timestamps so you can skip the sports that you like or just check out the whole thing. And if you're new, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Do have Instagram, Facebook, X on the socials. Check those out. And we like to start the show by shouting a beer for commemorating sporting endeavour in the week. Shauno, who have you got this week? This bloke could buy his own beers, I would think.
Yes, and he's got plenty from us in the past. And that's Shohei Ohtani, became the only player in MLB history with 50 strikeouts and 50 home runs in a single season. Of course, on track for his fourth MVP, which would be his third in a row.
Crazy.
I think it's, dominant. I think, did I say he's up to 53 homers for the year as of yesterday or today? So I've been pretty dominant. I had a quick check on Sportsbet as well, and they've suspended the betting on MVP on his side of the league. So he's basically guaranteed that spot and just continues his generational dominance as a pitcher hitter. And I did see that he pitched 6 innings the other day, didn't get any home runs off him. They pulled him out, and then their 5-run lead disappeared into nothing. So the relief pitcher wasn't very good. But overall, Dodgers have locked in a playoff spot. That's their 13th straight season. And, they'll hopefully go deep and try to win another World Series.
Yeah, not far away at all from October baseball. We'll keep an eye out on that as the Major League Baseball postseason is about to unfold. I'm going to shout a beer to our Aussie girls in the cricket. Our Southern Stars put on 412 in Delhi in an ODI overnight over in the subcontinent, equalled Australia's best effort in an ODI ever from our girls. And it was a bit of a shame because they had two overs left. So had they not got bowled out, they could have maybe pushed for 420, 430. Yep. Beth Mooney with 138 off just 75 balls, anchoring the innings from 4, 81 to Georgia Vole and 68 for Elise Perry. So the girls won that pretty handedly, although the Indians made 369 in response. So close to 800 runs there. Must have been a bit of a road there in Delhi, but enjoy a nice cold beer courtesy of the Esky to our Aussie women's cricketers. And staying in women's sport, Monks, you've got a good story from over in England in the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, sure. To keeping the rugby union shout of beers on the go, I'm shouting the Canadians women's rugby team a beer. They knocked off the New Zealand women's rugby team over the last couple of days on their journey, I suppose, to the finals of the Rugby World Cup. So the New Zealand team will have won 6 of the last 7, so powerhouse in the rugby union world, as is the men's team. So no mean feat by the Canadians to pip them. Had to crowdfund their own mission across to the UK, having to raise $1 million through, I guess, I don't know, GoFundMe pages. Yep. I don't know how it works over there, how they run it. But they had to fundraise to get the team over, and they are number 2 in the world, so they are powerhouse in themselves. But just to get to where they are, having to, I guess, financially kind of back themselves is, beer worthy.
In pretty incredible from mostly amateur side there. They take on England next weekend at Twickenham, and I can imagine every rugby fan around the world will be cheering on the Canadians for the upset against the English girls. The English girls are pretty short price favourites to get the job done, although France gave them a little bit of a run for the money in the first half overnight. But enjoy a Molson Canadian or a Labatt Blue. The Canadian women's rugby team. We also do a mop of the week for some silly behaviour. Shauno, you get the story here?
Yeah, we're going to give Victor Radley and the Roosters a mop. It came out, I think the damning text message between him, Smith, and a drug dealer was basically saying thank you for sorting us out this weekend.
Short 8 ball, whatever that means.
Yeah, short 8 ball. Yeah, so not saying guilty, but you read between the lines there. So they've
Nice.
then gone away and I guess the owner CEO, what's
Nick Politis.
Nick Politis has gone away and had his comments before about, hey, we're going to got zero tolerance for drug users in the team. So he wants to sack Radley. It came out during the week that he's basically told their management that, hey, we go find another club for next year. We're looking to try to sack you and get rid of your contract. Problem is, I think they couldn't just eat his contract. They couldn't just get rid of him. Mm-hmm. And then I think old Trent Robertson went into bat for him as well.
Good.
It's like, hey, we'll keep him. We want to keep him in the squad. And then they've come around and done this whole 10-game ban, suspended without pay. It's not really a suspension kind of thing. So what they've done is they've hit him with a 10-game ban without pay, which will be approximately about $125,000 for him, and ordered him to make a $30,000 donation. So where it gets more mob-worthy on the Roosters part of it is where they might be entitled to. So NRL, the RFL PA, whatever the Players Association is not real happy with this as well.
Good.
Because under the current CBA, there talks about the club is only allowed to deduct 1/13 of a playing fee for each match suspended where the suspension exceeds 8 matches. So that's not as the same as being suspended without pay as what they're trying to do here. So, they're kind of loopholing that. Yeah. The Roosters have a right to apply for salary cap relief not guaranteed for this as well, which is probably the big one. They are, of course, waiting. The NRL is waiting to see what happens in the Smith matter, and there was more court dates for that during the week and releasing of text to his mates about first, I'm starting and the put a bet on first try scorer. I think that's maybe a little bit more above board, but we'll see how the drug relation stuff plays out. But depending on that, they could get salary cap relief. Which would be, for them, they could get, the 125 to 150, whatever it is, salary cap relief for the club to then put towards another player to cover for that period. But the other benefit for Radley is that the 10 weeks without pay only equates to about a $65K net loss over the gross. So he doesn't actually lose out in that huge amount of money. And then
Still a bit of money.
It is, it's still a bit of money, but it's.
I could use 65K.
Yeah, exactly.
Split it 3 ways on the potty.
So if he was fined, he'd have to pay double that because it's not really a fine; it's a suspended without pay. So how they sort it out, but then also the $30,000 donation to charity is a tax deduction. So though it's big numbers, it also is benefiting him a fair bit as well. So with that fine, again the fine terminology, because it's not a fine, it's a suspension. It's a suspended without pay. They can only fine up to 25% of their salary. So the most of that for his $650K a year would be $162,500. So they've loopholed the CBA a fair bit here to get a suspension that sounds big, probably doesn't impact Radley as badly financially as it could be if they had fined him for the 10 weeks, and they can get salary cap relief from it. And then, there's the whole, the financial bit of the tax deductions as well. So it's just, overall, it's just like, they're thrown out the sombrero and they've gone, ha ha ha, we're so good at this. And a bit of a middle finger to everyone else.
Well, it's nearly out in the open, isn't it? We're talking about it on a podcast, we're just sourcing publicly available information. So,
yeah, exactly. This is just how it's been reported. So.
And we're looking pre-show as to what 10 weeks, a suspension looks like. It's actually the equal longest ever that the Roosters have given out. So Lapini Paya, back in 2006, copped 10 weeks for a dangerous throw where they dropped a bloke clean on his head.
Yep.
And, that kind of tackle that goes wrong is potentially life-changing, life-threatening, or they're not condoning what Victor's done by any means, but the punishment certainly doesn't seem to match the crime.
He's got no charges. It's basically off some text messages. Yep. So there is that bit of it. And there's, I guess, no proof that actually anything was consumed. So
sure, yeah,
so
it's over a couple of text messages.
Yes,
really. Crazy work. Check out on YouTube though the biggest NRL suspensions, and you can see what 10 weeks is meant to be reserved for. They're pretty pretty bad. Some of the ones that we saw there. Interesting.
Well, it's also it's not an NRL imposed suspension,
it's
and it's suspended without pay as well. So
exactly. So there is a caveat there, but
Roosters shenanigans.
Exactly, but the Roosters are moving their chess pieces to try and save themselves a bit of money in the salary cap. Where Radley cops it the worst, and he still looks like he's going to miss 10 games regardless. So yeah, it's not quite apples to apples comparison, but it's a precedent that's been set, I guess, is that it's the same as dropping someone on their head or flying in with the elbow.
Well, which I think is what Nick wanted. He wanted the headline of the big 10-game suspension.
We have zero.
So it's to go with his zero tolerance. This is like,
Well, it's also Radley's been the scapegoat because that was a bunch of Roosters players on that trip as well.
He was organising the golf trip. He was the, I guess, ringleader, if you will, on this.
Anyways, yes. I think it stinks a bit. I think it's mop worthy. Let us know in the comments what you think. The Roosters did bow out, actually, last weekend. We'll wrap up the...
Give that as a
segue. Wrap up last week before we get stuck into the semi-finals from this week, if you wouldn't mind, Mugs. So 2 qualifying finals, 2 elimination finals last week. Qualifying final 1, Melbourne get through Canterbury 26-18. Dogs actually gave the Storm a good run for their money in this one. Probably the big story out of that night was Stephen Crichton doing his syndesmosis. We saw him sidelined today in the moon boot, and that team is definitely a different team without Stephen. And then Melbourne earned themselves the week off to go down into a prelim at home next weekend. And we'll get to the other qualifying final in a second. We'll just go chronologically from last weekend. Penrith made light work of the Warriors over there at Go Media, winning 24-8, ending the Warriors season. And then, Cronulla knocked off the Roosters, who had been in really good late season form. I think in that last month of footy, the Chooks had beaten some pretty handy sides, including the Melbourne Storm, but a little bit too hard for them to get out from 8th position. And Cronulla have gone back to back with some finals games. The big talking point as Canberra-based podcasters here is the Sharks doing the Raiders last night at GIO Stadium, 32-12. What do we make of the game?
You skipped straight over Canberra, Brisbane.
Oh yeah, that is true.
The thing with this says match of the year underneath it. So.
That is true. Let's go back to how did the Raiders get here. Match of the year. You were at this game actually, Sean, last weekend. Nice sunny Sunday afternoon down in the capital, and you got treated to 95 minutes of footy. What do we think of this game?
Yeah, so I guess the big things, being up 28-12, and I remember because I went with the old man, of course. So I remember sitting there and I've said leading up to the game as well, you just don't want to get walshed. The worst thing we could do is send him off so he can go back into the sheds, get some gob and
into the bin.
Yeah. So he went to the sin bin for 10 minutes, came back fresh, hydrated potentially, and
good recovery.
Yeah, put the Raiders to the sword, and they basically just tried to isolate Walsh one-on-one with Fogarty and ran just right through him. He was a turnstile essentially. And that's how they got back into the game to give them the chances to win. Yes, the penalty for at the end rather than the final of the regular time, might have been
the contact post kick.
Yeah, it might have been not the biggest amount of contact to cause a significant amount of spinning, but it just visually looks wrong, and you give the umpire a chance to blow his whistle. When it's actually Klein, he's going to blow it. So, well, actually,
give
for him, he let it through, and they had to challenge it. So, but the visuals weren't great. So, I think that's going to be fair. And then, they just couldn't get it done, unfortunately, in extra time.
I think by the letter of the law, that probably is a penalty.
Yeah,
there's contact. He's already kicked the ball. Yes, it seems pretty minor, but
it's
you
not
can't
like,
let your leg clash into the kicker's leg after.
Well, the main thing is he didn't hit the leg, he hit the foot, and kind of he pushes it with his hands. Like it's not the worst you've seen.
Sure,
there's kind of but the visuals don't look great, so you can't not penalise it.
I do wonder as well if that's happened in the 25th minute. Do they even look at that?
Well, because Ashley played on, so they had to challenge it.
Well, they'd blown the final whistle.
So
it was getting looked at after the whistle had been blown. But yeah, I think probably the right call. I do think the game situation probably played into the fact that they were looking at it frame by frame, in slow motion. And yeah, good point that you make with Reece Walsh going in for 10 minutes, and yeah, maybe getting on his secret recovery juice in the sheds there. And Matty Johns was saying, it's just about the worst thing that can happen, provided you can defend, with 12 men. But then you've got a guy that's already probably the fastest bloke on the field, at least the most electric, Broncos player in attack, and then he comes back out fresh and turned into prime Billy Slater.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure, because being at the ground, it was hard to understand why Hudson was also binned at the same time for just mouthing off. As the way, I see plenty of people, plenty of players mouth off throughout all games, don't get sin binned, considering the aggressor with the headbutt. Didn't get set off, but also just got sin bin.
Were they showing the headbutt on the screen at the ground?
Time.
So everyone's going off.
Yeah, like it looked bad. Like he's turned around and retaliated and headbutted. Like that's as bad, and
not super forceful is probably the only thing that I could say.
But also like if Hudson's just called him, we got a good dog as he said afterwards. Well, I don't see why he gets in bin as well. Like it should have been an advantage to the Raiders in that play, and I guess they went down to 11 men not too short after where Pat Carrigan went off for his high shot. But they were ahead and probably switched off too early, and then the last 15 minutes, Walsh just ran through Fogarty like he was nothing, and just dominated that right edge of the Raiders, unfortunately.
All that consideration, and I do think, there's a few things that Raiders fans probably could have been salty from that game. They had 17 errors in this game, and we spoke about the strength.
Having too much field position.
The strength of the Raiders this year is just playing smart footy and completing at 85% in a lot of their games, and just grinding teams into the ground, and they weren't able to do that. And then I do wonder if playing the 95 minutes in this one.
Did they play their grand final a week earlier?
Yeah, so. I think it might have, because they did look a little bit flat, particularly in the second half last night.
Yeah, and missing Ethan Strange is probably a huge out for them. He's pretty dominant, but I think
it said he was coughing up blood through the night,
and coughing up blood. Like it seemed real bad. So you can't blame him for their loss on that. They were full. Had a full squad going up against a good Sharks team. But same thing, I think they got out in the lead. They dominated the first 20 minutes of this game, and then the Sharks just found a pay dirt down that right side. They got 2 tries, got ahead, and then the Raiders just let them get away, and they couldn't close that gap. So they didn't really have the striking power. So.
I think it was pretty telling with Strange out, probably how pivotal he is in running their attack as well. Fogarty obviously,
his kicking game's really good.
Yeah,
really
the kicking
helps,
game guy, but Strange actually organising them in attack, and we all know what he can do with his legs. And Sims Sangi did well, scored a try, off his own sort of athletic ability, but definitely not the same ball player as what Ethan Strange is.
And it'd be interesting how they replace Fogarty now, because I think he was in these 2 games, like he'd been good all year, but he was kind of ended up being a defensive detriment. I think he. The pros and cons, he let more points in than he created points, unfortunately, in those last 2 games. So, which is disappointing way to end, but it'd be interesting to see how they then replace him, whether they go with the other Sanders or there's reports they're looking at the Storm backup halfback at the moment.
Jonah Peasant.
Yeah, who can't get a gig because Jeremy Hughes is going to be there till Jerome Hughes is going to be there till 2030. So they're looking for like not a swap deal, a loan deal, kind of like how Harry Grant went and played for the Tigers for a little while. So maybe they'll do that for a couple of years.
Have you seen much of Ethan Sanders, the guy who potentially could come in?
Well, he got 50 put on him in that reserve game, and he played 1 game during the year for Fogarty and looked pretty good. But yeah, it's hard to tell when you don't have all the first graders around you. So, we'll see. Just another young talent.
What do you think of letting bombs hit the ground? Because they did it twice, and one of them absolutely bit him in the bum with it. It was a horrendous bounce, but that's what happens when the ball, is left to hit the turf, and it led to a KL Euro try, and that sort of started, it was the beginning of the end, I think, for the Raiders last night.
Yeah, well, that I think put them 18-6 at that point, and then
because they leveled up, so it was 12 all, and then it was 18-12, but I think that was the 24-12.
Yeah, that was it. So,
anyways,
can't beat the 50-point curse.
That's right. Well, we've got to talk about it. We spoke about it last pod, or probably, it would have been last pod.
Well, yep.
So Raiders run out their resis in that game against the Dolphins because it didn't mean much for them because the minor premiership was already wrapped up. And, it's science. If you get 50 put on you, you can't win the comp. We kind of had a bit of a laugh. They had an asterisk left.
Yeah, if they win it, will there be an asterisk?
Next to it.
Yeah.
But, so far it continues to ring true.
Yep.
You concede 50, you can't win the comp. Mm-hmm. The Raiders were the second minor premiers to go out in the NRL era in straight sets. I think it's the third in recent memory. So the last time actually was the Dragons back in 2009 to do it from first. And then that was 09 year. You got to go back 16 years again for the Bulldogs. So it's 16 years.
Yep.
So got to watch out in 2041. Whoever's the minor premiers that year might be the Port Moresby People Eaters. I don't know who it's going to be in 2041, but that seems to be the trend. And we'll get to the AFL as well because it's been straight. Shame. Yeah, that's right. Straight sets exit there as well. Should we talk about Canterbury Penrith?
Yeah, well, Penrith just dominated them. It was a 34-6 at half time.
Yeah,
and that's when I put
that 30.
That's why I put that note in there. It looked like they were going to get 50 put on them.
Didn't quite get there.
Didn't quite get there. I think Penrith kind of shut it down early, and Bulldogs technically win the second half. But they just looked Penrith of old. They finally, that was always going to be a challenge. It didn't matter where they finished in the 8 this year, as long as they had a chance, they were going to be a problem. Just with their finals experience and their ilk. They get right at the right period, and they've managed to peak right at finals time.
They didn't have an error in the first half, like 20 from 20 sets.
Wow.
Yeah, so that'll drive a team into the ground, and just attacking wise, way too good. Down both edges as well. They didn't have a favourite edge, so the wingers feasted in this one. Dan and Kemp's locker room posted 502 metres between the two wingers, To'o and Alamotti, and that was 5 tries, 2 try assists, 7 line breaks, 21 tackle busts between the two of them. Pretty handy. They would have had some good Supercoach numbers if it was a regular season, that's for sure. It's just looking more and more like Melbourne Penrith type scenario.
But that leads us in, I guess, to the remaining 2 finals games. We've got Storm taking on the Sharks next Friday in Melbourne. Melbourne, of course, heavy favourites for that. Will Hughes' play is going to be an interesting outcome. I think, regardless, they'll still be too good for the Sharkies.
So even if Pez is playing 7?
Yeah, I think they've Munster, Harry Grant have been unreal this year. So they've been pretty dominant coming off a big Queensland period. So
they should get Pappy back as well.
Yes.
Missed their qualifying final with concussion. So probably worst case scenario for Storm fans is they're playing 3 of their starting 4. And then Hughes actually said on his podcast that they're aiming to get him back for the prelim, which would be pretty wild. I think it's 3 weeks since breaking his forearm. It must be a smallish, stable enough fracture, I would say. Not extending into the joint and affecting the actual wrist joint, more just in the distal part or the part of your forearm or down near the wrist. But I'm pretty sure he said on his podcast that's what he's aiming for.
Yeah, and just like you said, he might play, we were talking off pod about he might have a brace of some sort, was it a plastic brace?
Yeah, they'll probably do exactly right.
So,
I don't know if you've seen, the guys that have got ACs where it nearly looks like they're wearing one shoulder pad.
Yep.
So what they do is they'll put like a little bit of plastic sort of protection over the AC and then strap it down.
Yep.
I think they might do the same thing with his forearm. So rather than it being actually in a hard plaster cast, which actually has
a club.
Yeah.
Which is not very useful.
Shane Webke, I think that's late 90s player.
Not very useful for your 7 though.
That's right. No, I think he'll just have like a heavily strapped forearm with potentially a bit of plastic there. But it looks like they could be, their whole spine ready to go. And as good as the Sharks were last night, that's going to be very difficult to get past.
In Melbourne with bellyache, it's very, very, very difficult.
2016 grand final. They did beat Melbourne in the 16 grand final. They won't have Andrew Fafita,
Paul Gallen,
or Fafita barging over the tired defence underneath the sticks late in the final. Monks, you was going to say?
I was going to say, if you're bellyache, would you play Hughes if he's
good question. Yeah, they probably would.
Why do you want to push it?
He broke his broke his wrist in a game that he didn't have to play as well.
Yeah,
I think if he's good to go, Belly's happy to play him.
I think that seems to be Craig's approach.
Yeah.
A little bit sort of old school in that regard. If anything, that this, wrist fracture or forearm fracture is done, it's actually probably given him more time to rehab his shoulder as well, which was, the big concern after dislocating probably 8 weeks ago now, I would say. And when we get to the AFL, we'll talk a bit more about dislocated shoulders. It's a good point, though, you make, Sean, because he probably didn't need to play in that game. It wasn't must-win for Melbourne. And then, it is also pretty unlucky. Like, you don't see too many people stick an arm out, cop a knee right on the forearm and have a fracture like that.
Yeah, it didn't re-injure an injury he just come back from
It's
as
just
well. So it's just
unlucky.
a
freak accident.
Yeah, exactly. So the concern for a guy like that coming back from a dislocation is shoulder instability and it going again. So I suppose, like I said, the silver lining is that it's just giving him more time to rehab that and try and make that as stable as possible.
Agree.
But odds, Melbourne Storm $1.45, Sharks $2.75. That's the
short in the
Friday night game. There is no Saturday game next weekend because there's a pretty major event happening in Melbourne down there, which we'll get to. And it seems like the Melbourne Storm are in the prelims every single year. So probably not the worst idea from the NRL to not try and clash with the AFL.
No, agree. Don't be dumb. The other game then, Sunday, Broncos will take on Penrith. So Broncos look pretty good, but it's going to be so hard against that Penrith team. Like we said, the Penrith have peaked at the right time. Broncos might get some troops back. Reynolds was meant to be back, but then had a bit of a setback, so he might be 50-50, but it sounds like Ezra Mam is basically guaranteed to be back, and perfect timing, I guess, because Billy Walters' season is done after confirmed ACL, so he might slide straight back in a 6th spot. So they either have Ben Hunt at 7 or he might play 9, but depending on Reynolds. But I think they're going to be pretty close to full strength. What was interesting out of that Canberra game, I thought Payne Haas had actually done a Cindy, which is syndesmosis in Australian, because of the amount of limping he was doing around, and it looked like ankle, lower foot kind of thing. So it was, but he played the whole game. Like that happened at like the 50th minute, and then he played the next 30 minutes, and he played all the extra time, and he's limped around the whole time. And I don't think he'd ever said anything more about it. So
he's not listed on the Broncos outs. Pat Carrigan is suspended.
Yep. But he took the early guilty, so he could miss the game, and we'll be back for grand final if they make it. But outside of that, they're pretty strong. Cobbo as well played cup footy, so the potential is available for him to come back. So
Cobbo probably comes back in, and you probably feel for Karapani probably missing out there. I think Reynolds will play. He's late, He's had recurrent soft tissue. He won't want to sit out, and they might just risk him because they've got coverage with Ben Hunt.
Yes.
So my feeling is, come Tuesday, look for Adam Reynolds' name to be there.
Yeah, and I think they very talented. I think we talked about it. The main man, the electric Reece Walsh. You don't want to get Walshed. He'll be the big difference maker if Penrith give him plenty of room, he'll happily put points on him. So that'll be the Broncos' way to win. Get a good platform off the forwards and get Walsh isolated on 1-on-1 and see if he can get you some line breaks, because that seems to be the game plan. If they can shut that down, then I think Penrith will be too. I feel that Penrith will be too good, too clinical, too much finals experience. They're gone. They want to go back, prove that they can still do it.
Go for 5 in a row.
Yeah.
Carrigan's such a big out. Again, like when looking at the Broncos pack, outside of Payne Haas, I would say every Panther is probably better than the remaining 5 outside of big asterisks, obviously, with Payne Haas. Yep. So it's going to be hard to get the go-ahead from the middle. But look, stranger things have happened. And, 1 through 7, the Broncos look pretty handy if they're full strength. So you never know. They'll start $2.12 at home with the Panthers coming in at $1.73 favourites. Yeah, there was a Liam Martin injury amongst any update there? He was clutching at his ribs, so presumably
not as of yet.
Go for X-rays. Hopefully they're not broken. Anything outside of broken ribs, I'd say he's playing.
I suppose so. Yeah. I mean, it's the game you need to win to get into the grand final. And like you said, on paper, Penrith in every position. Probably beats out Broncos. Liam Martin's probably one of the biggest players on that list as well.
It is still it's fresh, but he's not on the official injury list. But definitely looked pretty tender going up the race after copping a knock from Kikio, I think, ex buddy.
Yeah, that's it. I think we're expecting another Storm Penrith final.
Great.
Yeah,
it's
where we were at the start of where we were at mid-season. We were like, Penrith, they're not going to make it. They might sneak into the finals. They can't do it, but it is what it is.
Well, early in the year, we're like, oh wow, we're seeing how good the Raiders are. We're seeing how good the Dogs are. You know, we're discounting the Broncos and Sharks. You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
But everything is pointing. I think we're all in agreement to another. Penrith and Storm match.
It's hard to go past them.
And look, they've been there. These are the generational teams. So why not another classic battle between them? It was a good grand final last year, I thought. No, they met in 2020 as well, where Melbourne got the bickies in that one.
Yeah. For the Broncos, you probably should cover off, win or lose out of this. You got to give Madge props after kind of how it started, and they've kind of been banged up all the back half of the year, and they just seem to win enough games and then win the games that matter to get to this point. So, I think the boys are playing pretty well, and they do have some elite talent, which can pop up and surprise, and that would be their way to victory over, say, a clinical Penrith team.
That's it. Outside of the Storm, like those three other teams had to fight their way up through the 8 into top positions. Like obviously Penrith only just really made it into the 8 after being at the bottom of the ladder.
Going from 7th, and Sharks from 5th, with a notoriously pretty ordinary, finals footy form over the last few years. Although Canelo were in a prelim last year as well, so they're starting to get it right in the Fitzgibbon-Hines era.
Did you have that stat for premiership wins from 8 positions for the NRL? Because I think it was AFL.
Find it. Yeah, we spoke about it in the AFL. So in this century in the AFL, there's only been 2 teams to do it from outside of the 8, and I would imagine we're in pretty similar sort of regions for the NRL. Definitely not in the last few years as a team outside the top.
Because what do you got left
4,
there? You got 2, 4, 7 and 5.
Yeah, so Storm versus Sharks is 2 versus 5, and Broncos versus Penrith is 4 versus 7. Yeah, so
did that say only 2 teams?
Only 2. So back in 2022, yeah.
That's 2022.
So what were those teams?
But that's kind of writing the Sharks and Penrith off in that regard.
Yeah. Again, none of these teams are like Penrith doing it from 7th. I don't know if they're a true 7th.
Yeah, exactly.
I can do some reading there.
1993, the Broncos won the comp from 5th.
Yeah.
1995, Bulldogs from 6th.
So in the NRL era, very, very rare.
Yep.
Is the answer to that. There you go. Stranger things have happened, and not many years. I think that the generational team has finished 7th, so we'll see what the Panthers can do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, next time we pod, we'll actually we'll be reviewing the grand final because we won't go for a couple of weeks, and now we will preview the AFL grand final, which is 6 days away. Let's go back to last week and how we got there. We spoke about the Raiders going straight sets. The poor Adelaide Crows gone in straight sets as well. And there's fair few similarities, I thought, with both of these teams, Raiders and Crows. Both exceeded expectations in the regular season. Both playing finals footy, after not playing last year, or in the Crows' case, not playing in a lot of time. And both pretty young, without heaps of guys with a lot of finals experience. And Hawthorn just did what they've done to a lot of teams this year. They did the same thing to the Giants the week before and just smoked them in the first quarter. And then Crows off the back foot for the rest of the game. And it wasn't even the first quarter. It was the first 2 minutes. They started so hot, kicked 3 goals in the first 2 minutes, and ended up, I think, 4 goals ahead at the first break. And Adelaide ended up losing by 44 points and weren't able to really chew into half that margin coming from the first quarter.
Too dominant.
Full house there as well at Adelaide, and pretty disappointing. The Hock ball a bit too strong for him. And then semi-final 2, Brisbane ending the Gold Coast Stream run. So that at least Gold Coast Suns have got their first finals win the week before, but just an absolute clinic from the Broncos from the Lions at home there.
Yeah, McLuggage and Berry were good in that.
Jared dislocated last weekend. Didn't he? And the weekend before.
Weekend before that. So he played in that game.
Yep. And got through okay. And then we'll talk about him in just a second. So let's go back to Friday night. Geelong, 17 goals, 13, 115 defeat. Hawthorn, 13 goals, 7, 85 in front of 99,600, we'll say, at the MCG.
Round up.
Crazy. Hawks, again, off that hot start, but there's one team that, is actually kind of renowned for their second halves and were able to rein it in, and that was the Cats. But
they got Dangerfield, let's put it that way.
Bro, he just put on Superman cape in the second half.
He had that in the drawer for a little while, and when he needed it, he pulled it out and put it on. So
it's crazy how prelims and grand finals just bring out the best of the generational players, and this is the Dusty.
How old is Dangerfield now?
He's at our age, I think. He's 36. I think he's he might be 35. I think he's a 1990. I think he's a 90 vintage. 35 years of age, wearing 35. 5th of April, 1992, weeks younger than me. That's depressing. He finished with 31 disposals, 3 goals, 13 scoring involvements. I think 20 of his 31 coming in the second half. And Bailey Smith, all-star signing of this year, has been Mr. Consistent. He had 36 disposals, a goal and 6 tackles in this one.
Given the fee and get us some photographers during the week didn't hurt his cases.
Loves doing it, mate. All through my feed as well about, whichever girl he's spotted with. Particularly if they're, reality TV stars or whatever she is. Tom Stewart is going to miss the grand final. So stalwart of their back six. Pretty unfortunate tackle. Got both arms pinned and hit his head pretty hard and failed HIA. So he'll miss the grand final. There's no ifs or buts, unfortunately, around the 11-day stand down, even if it does mean a grand final's at stake. And then just good up the front with Jeremy Cameron and Tyson Stengel. Jez didn't go crazy, but kicked his 3 goals. Stengel has been good; he kicked 3, they just were too good for him in the second half. They only had a 1-point lead at the half. Worth noting, 15 prelims out of the last 20 years for Geelong. Just Melbourne Storm, Geelong Cats.
I think we talked about it in the lead into the finals period about what we expect. How good do we think the Crows can be? And it was just like, you got to get through to Geelong if you want, and the Pies for that matter. You've got to get through these guys if you want to make a grand final at the moment. And between them and the Lions, they've just been so dominant. So.
Yeah. Clip it up, man, because, I think we're pretty big Geelong homers from about 6 weeks ago.
Yep.
This one was interesting. So Collingwood, 11 goals, 571, go down at home to Brisbane, 15-10, 100 in front of 96,000 there at the G. This was the 2023 grand final rematch, and it was interesting hearing Fags post-match saying, the theme of the whole week was we don't actually get redemption until we beat these guys.
In a final, because they beat them 3 weeks ago or something.
By 10 points, I think. I think it was,
But beating the Pies in a final was massive for them.
Scott Pendlebury did his calf. It was sort of hurt and warmed up. Still went out there and was
a strain. Wasn't Achilles.
Just strain.
The old fella.
But it's pretty disappointing for him. He was straight into coach mode from about the quarter time huddle, and then we talk about Jared Berry. Re-dislocated that shoulder in the second quarter. You've got potentially some word that he wants to play next weekend, and sort of be up to the medical staff to make a decision.
He says he wants to play. He said on TV is like, I'm not even going to worry about the scan. I'll just strap it up and I'll go out. So I think he by all accounts he's going to try. See if he's got to of course convince the medical staff that it's not a detriment for him to be out there. It was already known he was going to have surgery after the grand final, at the end of the year. I think if we talked about it, as long as it's not done any significant ligament damage, if it just popped out and popped back in like it did the first time and hasn't really like his scan was basically clean. It was just the stability's not there, so they have to go in and clean it up. So they strapped the shit out of him for the last 2 games. He got through one, didn't get through this one, and it's I guess with he's a bit of a favourite son there, Fagan. Where Fagan just was like, hey, if you think you've got it in you, your legs can run around, and I'll pick you. So. I think he'd be a lot closer than people think. Watching some of that interview with him post as well, he doesn't look like he's in significant pain or anything like that. So, and if it's like the last time, it literally by the time he got off the ground and popped back in and he felt right. So, just one of those things at the moment is it's his bad shoulder. It's coming in and out and there's not much he can do.
He's a little bit tactical as well as he was going off the field, demanding the play got stopped, which I think helped Brisbane in that regard. From like a anatomy perspective, so you've got your shoulder joint, right, the humerus, the ball sitting in the glenoid, the socket. You've got a labrum, which is like some fibrocartilage, which sort of is around there and helps to sort of thicken up that joint. His labrum's probably already pretty cooked, I would say.
Maybe it's torn already and it's just not annoying him.
So the scan would probably be just assessing, what's new to that. But then you also have some ligaments at the front there, which help to keep that shoulder joint in there. And I'd say already, some of those have probably gone. It's just how many, because you have 3 main stabilising there that are trying to stop the shoulder popping out forward. So it'll be interesting. But don't rule him out just yet because it may be if his pain is under control and the medical staff think they can get it stable enough. He may be good to go.
I think it's like if we can't make it worse, and he's happy. He comes like I say with the pain. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes.
It is interesting tactically though if you're taking a risk on a guy that may dislocate in the first quarter, and then you've got to activate your sub really early as well. So there may be some tactical stuff involved there. But like you said, definitely a favourite of Fags, that's for sure.
But having said that, I think the interesting thing with the makeup of the team, and the other one is Lachie Neal is the big one leading into the grand final. By all accounts, he looks good. He did a big, I think they said like a 10K kind of warm up, big test of, I think his calf he's been working back from.
Yep.
So they think he should be right and should go. But I'm also interested to see whether maybe he shouldn't. For the simple fact that team with him in it is heavily designed to go through him. But without him in there, it kind of frees the other guys up to be more free. And that's why you've seen McLuggage go bonkers because, he's got that freedom now, the way they're playing. And the same with Jared, with Barry that previous week as well. Him and McLuggage kind of were a bit more dominant in that midfield because they could get more ball because they weren't funneling it through Lachie as their design and their game plan. So they've looked pretty good. So I'm also just hesitant for a guy that he's coming back from a calf. He wins Brownlows for a reason. So there is that side of it. But whether the more freedom game that they're playing at the moment is actually better for their chances to win than having to try and funnel it through a guy potentially on one leg. So
no, I think if he's good to go, he comes in, but potentially off the bench. And if there's anyone that can sort of afford, that's a bad word to use, but to be without a 2-time Brownlow medalist, it's these guys. Given the Ashcroft brothers, given McLuggage playing as good as he has, Dunkley is rock solid week in, week out. I've actually seen Zach Bailey come through the midfield and play lights out when we're called upon too. So if Lockie's good to go, potentially slides back into the 22, maybe from the bench, and maybe Bailey back into the front 6, and a guy like Gallup misses out potentially. So it'll be interesting to see. But then again, are you carrying 2 guys in there with massive injury clouds and, maybe accepting that your sub is getting activated, at some stage?
That could be the
you have to pick one or the other.
I don't think so. No,
I think Fagan will if I can play my best 22, I'm going to play the best 22, regardless of the carrying Eagles. They know they're going in against Geelong. Believe it's the first time they're playing each other in a grand final.
Yep.
So I think it's all that flying around. But they have to be at their best to beat a team like Geelong at the moment.
He showed his hand, and again, it's different because it's ruck, but Oscar McInerney last year as well. Remember how he had the double dislocation same game, and then they were trying to sort of rush him back and he couldn't get back for the GF. But then also completely different because ruck depth is a very, very different thing to midfield depth and just the position itself. Like you really need to be able to get your arm up above your head over and over and over and over again. Whereas with the mids, yes, you're going to be called on to take an overhead mark potentially once or twice, but it's really just the tackling. If you're going to,
the running of the
pop a
legs has
shoulder.
to be good.
And then, and a calf is completely different, obviously. But yeah, we've spoken a lot about next week. Last night, Brisbane looked pretty good. They just the Pies just smashed them in the second quarter, six goals straight in that one. But then the other 3 quarters, it was all sort of Brisbane. Jamie Elliott took one of the marks of the year. That hanger in the third quarter, how he was an All-Australian is absolutely beyond me. And unlucky for Collingwood. We're definitely the best team through about the first 2/3 of the season, and then sort of got the Colling wobbles towards the end, and then we're able to win a couple finals, but not enough.
Yeah, and going back to our talk about winning it from the 8, shock to 2 versus 3. The 1, 2, 3 being the predominant winners of AFL Grand Finals.
Remember how we were saying 4 hasn't won this century as well? So that
just going to bring that one up.
That continues. So you've got a good chance from 1, 2 or 3, and then after that it's historically very difficult. Yeah.
Poor crumb.
All right, let's talk some Aussie rules news before we preview the grand final itself. This Tassie Devils stuff, Sean, you've got the story here. Where are we at? Is it happening? Where's the government at? How much money are they throwing at it?
It's hard to say because it's called the Tasmanian Planning Commission, and pretty standard planning commissions, across our country, do a report, and they've completed that. It's come back and find the proposed new Tasmanian stadium should not be built for a bunch of reasons, but it's they focus, I guess, heavily on a few things, but then disregard a whole bunch of other stuff that maybe a different agency or commission would look at and give a different result. But I think the big headline of shouldn't be built was the main talking point. And they, of course, are projecting the cost to blow out to $1.8 billion.
A lot of money.
So regardless, the Premier, Rockcliffe, has declared a vote in the Parliament would ultimately decide whether the project goes ahead. So it's got to still clear the Parliament. And there had been rumours that, to fund this, that for Tasmanians, it could be as much as, over $5,000 per person, per head, in taxpayer money to be able to fund this stadium. So it's looking pretty dire. And we'll talk a minute about the new Melbourne coach, but it's likely there's been a lot of rumours about Buckley potentially being their inaugural coach for Tasmania, and they're already pushing ahead with VFL and the women's leagues, regardless next season.
Yeah, next season they're in the VFL. That's happening.
So they're they're kind of fast getting into a point of rock and hard place where they've basically committed to a team that may not have a home. So
Rockcliffe in a hard place potentially.
Yes. So and I guess there's some comparisons through the Denver Broncos in there because they confirmed their stadium building just from a money perspective. But the flip side of that,
how much they're spending on theirs, US.
I think it's going to be 2 to 3, if not more. But they're also planning to build a huge entertainment center, restaurants, the whole shebang. So it's they're doing it taxpayer free essentially, so there's no hit to Coloradoans or whatever you want to call it for everyone in Denver.
Which is interesting because I was reading the Bills' new stadium is nearly all state of New York funded.
Yes, yeah. But having said that, I think the city is doing them a deal. They're basically giving them the land for free, and they're giving back the old land as well, which is the reason why they didn't have to pay several millions of dollars to be able to get the land, and they'll fund the stadium. Having said that, the owners are almost worth $120 billion themselves. So
venture is expected to cost at least $4 billion US.
Yeah.
So it's a fair bit of money compared to 1.8 Aussie.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're going to have a retractable roof stadium as well.
Yep.
Crazy.
That's crazy, yeah.
Plus all the other stuff and things like that. So I wanted a comparison because they're saying it's going to blow out to 1.8. They're saying it's for their 80,000 stadium they're going to build in Denver. It's going to be $4 billion. So you're probably looking US.
Yeah.
So it's a big ballpark that maybe this. What do you think it'll be? A 40,000 seat stadium?
30, 35 maybe.
35? Yeah. So if you're thinking half, like, yeah, you might be $2 billion US kind of thing. So if they're thinking 1.8, that's might even be right on the money. So, which is more than the billion I think they originally planned to put into the stadium.
Mate, inflation.
Yes. So
I think probably the biggest issue with
tough.
that equation is the market cap that the NFL has against the AFL.
Also, Denver's a little bit bigger than Hobart, I think.
Yeah. But the actual building costs, though,
It
should be
relatively same.
Still
sort of
materials
ballpark.
and things. It's still labour. So,
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a bit of a struggles there.
And a bit of AFL Origin coming back. So State
Has
of
been
Origin,
confirmed?
confirmed for Valentine's Day. Ooh, what a Valentine's Day present. WA versus Victoria, 14th Feb.
How far in front of the season is that? Is that a month before the season starts?
The official kickoff, maybe 3 weeks. Yeah.
So it's going to be Western Australia versus Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
The last Origin that was played was 99, and then Victoria destroyed South Australia. And the last time Western Australia and Victoria had played against each other was 1992.
That's
I did
crazy,
see some Western Australian teams float around and some good names in there, but yeah, I think it's still going to be tough ask to go up against the best of Victoria.
Yeah, definitely. But like you said, they'll have some pretty strong candidates from WA. I do wonder from an injury standpoint, having this 3 weeks before the season, if someone big goes, but
then again, as a comparison, rugby league, they play 3 games in the middle of the season, so
I think it means a fair bit for the NRL boys.
Yes.
Here we go. Monk's got potential WA boys here. Could include Barras, Jordan Clark, Brandon Starcevich, Mitch McGovern, Sam
backs.
Taylor. Sam Taylor will walk into the back 6.
Yep.
What about midfield? Patrick Cripps is.
skip it. Or you're gonna have to pick some, Jimmy.
I think you go.
You gotta pick him. You gotta pick your 3.
There you go. Pick 6.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, halfbacks.
There we go. What other names are we getting here? Nathan Broad, Trent Rivers, Nick Martin. There you go. Rory Lobb. Go quick here, man. All right, here we go. Midfield, this is what we want. Patrick Cripps, Stephen Canelio, Luke Jackson, Jager
Shea Bolton,
O'Meara, Shea Bolton, Cozzy Pickett, Elliot Yeo, Chad Warner.
Yep.
Pretty solid. Forwards, Oscar Allen, Jai Amos, Bobby Hill,
Charlie Cameron,
Mish Georgiadis,
Patrick Cripps is in there.
Liam Ryan, Aaron Norton, Jake Waterman, All-Australian. Could be solid. Won't be Victoria good, but could certainly be pretty solid. There you go. So what are you on? Is that AFL.com? No, tradable bits. You can actually make your own WA State of Origin team already. There you go. That's a bit
I think
fun.
that's sponsored through AFL
very good
website. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. It's good to see a bit of State of Origin coming back, and we'll see if we get the Allies in South Australia returning at some stage too. Let's talk about the new Melbourne coach. So Stephen King, 46-year-old Geelong assistant, did actually coach those 7 games at the Gold Coast, but between the Stuart Dew and Damien Hardwick eras. Pretty different eras in hindsight, aren't they? He was a ruckman for Geelong and St Kilda 1996 to 2010, played 240 AFL games. So he'll take over there for the red and blue and see how he goes. He writes a good scary story as well of Stephen King, I'm told. Fucking bad joke there. And then a bit of player news. The one that I'm really worried about as a Carlton fan is this Charlie Curnow stuff is looking more and more likely that he might be out the door.
Yep.
So has stated that he would like out of Carlton due to lifestyle reasons. We've already spoken about that on the pod.
Out of Victoria, I think is the main thing as well.
Well, which is interesting because it was
that's what he said.
Well, it was Gold Coast and Sydney that were the front runners, and a lot of talk about Sydney. Don't really have an elite, key forward at the moment. Run a lot of their scoring through the likes of Isaac Heaney and Tom Patley. Some of the smaller guys would really, I'm sure they could use a big key forward, and did pretty well the last time they jagged a big Victorian key forward.
Yep.
Buddy Franklin went all right, didn't he? But then apparently Geelong and Collingwood have entered into the conversation this week as well.
Which you're not going to say no. I agree with you, but yes. Geelong, he's not going to turn him down.
And I don't know how Geelong's ended up in this article. I think with Jeremy Cameron there. And
I guess that's the question. How long do you see Jeremy Cameron playing for?
he's a common medalist right now. I think in the next 3 years, I think he's still going to be fine.
Well, how old is he? Is he early 30s or?
He'd be
is
33, I think.
33?
Check an age on Jezza there. But yeah, geez, that would be a scary task if you're having to account for him and
32.
and Charlie, 32,
Yeah.
1 year off. Collingwood makes a lot of sense from a football standpoint. Again, have done a lot of their scoring through Jamie Elliott and Bobby Hill, and there's not so much this season, but last year, through their smaller forwards, have been lacking an elite key forward. So there's some talk that they might try and move Myercheck and make a play for Charlie Curnow. If that was to happen, there's only been 30-odd players in the whole history of AFL, VFL that have played for both Blues and Pies, obviously very bitter rivals, and a fair few, stories in recent memories of guys going the other way around. Daisy Thomas comes to mind, but would be a massive, massive thing if Charlie was to go and play for the Pies, and you can imagine the booing that will occur the first time that they meet. But yeah, as a Blues fan, that's absolute worst case scenario, and it's starting to look like he's out the door. So it's would you rather see him at the Gold Coast or Sydney? I think is
well, I'd seen some stuff to Sydney to then also help free up potentially the Warners going back west. So. There's a bit of rumours around that space too. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. And they can't. I think you said they can't trade everyone, but there's a lot of Blues news of guys moving around at the moment.
You just want to get something good if he is out the door.
Yep.
Also, Petrarca and Merritt both strongly linked to be joining.
I think
new clubs.
For Petrarca, it's like 50-50. The reports are he's in a better space than he was last year when he did request the trade, and it's still there if they can make something happy. He's like, cool, we can do that, or I'm also happy to stay. So I think they're in a better space. Whereas Zach Mirror, I think bridges are burnt, and they're to the point where they can't bring him back, is what they're saying. So it's just he's not happy with the way it's played out, and the club's not happy with their side of it. So
which is not good for Essendon. Your captain,
no. And considering the reports of Sam Draper going to Brisbane as well, Bombers are struggling for players.
Per Mitch Cleary, Zach Merritt met with Essendon Vice President and President in waiting this morning in Port Melbourne. Merritt is keen on the Hawks. It's important dialogue to show the relationship isn't over and he should still be held to his contract. So, that's everything that I've heard recently is that he's linked to Hawthorn. And, geez, they could have used a Zach Merritt Friday night. Interesting as well because their midfield's so young. To just get someone with a bit of experience there coming in would really bolster up their midfield stocks.
Which is exactly what the Bombers need as well.
Dude, I don't know what's going to happen for the Bombers.
Both of our clubs are maybe looking at pretty ordinary 2026.
Straight back to start a rebuild.
Yeah, which is the sucky bit of it. They're also getting pilfered by the top 4 teams. It's just I did see some guys kind of thinking.
I was just going to say, is Geelong the Roosters of the
but I think it's because. And I did see some talk about should they be able to trade guys to places where they don't have say in it, kind of like the NFL. For this reason, because these guys turn around and go, "Hey, I want to be traded, but I only want to go to the top 4 teams."
There's a lot of power for the players in the AFL as opposed to the American leagues, where it's like pack your bags.
But I guess that flip side of that is it's hey, we have the contract where the piece of paper is what is the tradable asset. It's not the actual person. So we trade your contract to another club. It's just that's a contract you sign. So, I can see both sides of the argument. But like you say, I kind of hate the fact that, Geelong might win the comp and then turn around and get a whole bunch of good talent to add to what they already have.
Well, the Bailey Smith classic example, isn't it? They were already pretty good, and then you add them, and it's they're $1.50 to win the grand final next weekend now, aren't they?
Exactly. Use that as your segue. There you go.
Well, before I wanted to talk
Brownlow,
quickly about Brownlow. I'll just give some odds here. I've been keeping a pretty close eye on this throughout the year. They've got a big 4 here, and I think that's pretty realistic. So Dacos at 250, Bailey Smith at 5s. Jordan Dawson at 7, Noah Anderson at 7. I think that's good. I think it would be very surprised if it's anyone outside of that 4.
Yep.
Other names that you can get, some value for: Matt Rao, Caleb Strong, Naz, Tom Green, McLuggage. Starts to get to triple digits after that. I think Marcus Bontempelli, if he'd played the whole year this year, would probably be the Brownlow medalist. But hard to do it when you miss the first 5 games, I think it was. Going to be pretty hard for the Bont. Just probably doesn't have enough games under his belt. But yeah, Dacos $2.50. Hasn't got one just yet, and he's been the odds-on favourite a couple of years in a row to get it. So be interesting to see if he does get his first Brownlow. All right, let's go into the match of the year, the final Saturday in September. It will be Geelong taking on Brisbane. Can confirm those two have never played each other in the grand final. We've had a fair few finals meetings for them in this century. Brisbane going to their 3rd grand final in a row, so trying to emulate that Brisbane team of the early 2000s that went to 4 in a row, winning 3 of them. And we've already spoken about the injury cloud, so it'll be a lot of speculation throughout the week as to the health of Neil and Berry. And
Who was that?
Piastri.
It was, damn it. He looked to be last. I was trying to figure out whether he'd started from the pits. Yeah, it looks like he's gone on the wall.
Got the Baku in the background, which is
started first lap.
5 minutes down. Yeah, not even. And we'll keep you updated as it plays out, but maybe Oscar is out. He's listed as 20th and 11th.
Yeah, well, he was meant to start 9th, and he was running last by the first corner, so I wondered what happened. And
there he is in the wall.
He's gone in the wall, so
that's a shame.
Huge.
Because he crashed out in qualifying, didn't he?
So what happened?
Does he get clipped?
He's last here, so
engine?
Downforce maybe, just locks up, turns in, got nothing.
Which
this is going to be the interesting with this race. We'll talk about it in a minute, but they had all these crashes in qualifying because they seem to lose downforce or they lose something over the front end and they can't stop the car and they just go on the wall.
This turn was it
not just this turn, a few of the other ones as well, but they had 6 crashes in qualifying. So it's a pretty unforgiving circuit. If you can't make a corner, you're in a wall.
Street circuits.
Yeah, not good for Aussie F1 fans. Luckily, he's got a little lead there.
Yeah, well, Oscar, they didn't do too well because of all that qualifying stuff, and Oscar's 8th at the moment, so he'll only gain a couple points.
Lando, you're talking about?
Lando, sorry. What did I say?
Oscar, the guy that just crashed.
Norris, yes. Norris is currently in 8th, so that's, 4 points at the moment?
Yep.
So, it's...
Yeah, we'll be hoping he doesn't continue to climb up there as fans of Oscar. That's a shame. What we're talking about? We're talking about Brisbane. We're talking about Lockie Neil.
Finishing off, finals.
Yeah, Neil and Berry. And then, I don't think there's any clouds really for Geelong, just other than the fact that Tom Stewart will miss.
Mm-hmm.
So they met back in round 3 of this season, the Cats and the Lions, and they won by 9 points. The Lions won by. That was the one that was meant to be opening round, but it got pushed because of the cyclone.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the prelim last year as well, and the Lions won that by 10 points as well. So the Lions have actually got the runs on the board against Geelong in their last few meetings, which is going to be interesting. But the bookies definitely have Geelong as the favourites. Monks, you got some odds there?
Yeah, Geelong are favourites at $1.50. Lions are $2.60 at the moment.
They got Norm Smith just yet. Scrolling down, yeah, I think they do.
Yep.
Bailey Smith $6, Max Holmes $7, Will Dangerfield $7, Will Ashcroft 10s, Hugh McLuggage 13s. And we'll see how the week plays out. You'll be going for Brisbane, obviously.
Yep.
What about thinking with your head? Do you think they can knock them off?
Oh, it's going to be a tough ask. I think we talked about how they're a bit banged up. They do have a lot of young talent. Geelong's Geelong though. That's always going to be tough. But just going to win one game. The main thing, I guess, let's hope it's not a blowout grand final. We don't want 100 point differences.
For the neutral viewer, the Swans were really cooked by about halfway through that second quarter. So if we could get more of a 2023 grand final, at least from a viewing perspective, where Collingwood only just got home, that would be nice.
Some of the numbers and the differences, and you got the list there, Pebby, in front of you. I've been looking at it. 2022 is not close. 2021 wasn't close. 2020, I think, was-ish. Yeah, still 30 points. Yeah. 2019 wasn't close. 2018 was.
Yeah, the only recent ones that have been close are 2018 and 2023. So when West Coast beat Collingwood and when Collingwood beat Brisbane. Collingwood involved in both. Make of that what you will. You got to go back to sort of the Oh, no, Hawthorn Freo is only 15 points.
Oh, he jumped the start. That's why he stopped. Oh, Oscar.
Yeah, sorry, very distracting here.
Yeah, that's all right. It's gonna be
I was wondering why he was in last and he false started the start and then stopped and then everyone took him over.
Dolphins or something.
Okay.
Well, yeah, or he let off the clutch early, but this will show it Alonso. Well, even Alonso did it. Wow, they held him for a while.
Okay.
Might be some penalties on false starts there. But you can see he jumps around Oscar after he. Well, I guess he follows Oscar. That's probably what happened.
Yeah.
Because Oscar goes, so he goes. Damn. Yeah, I guess that's championship pressure. To finish on the grand finals. Yep. It was like, once it matters.
Oscar Piastri is the Adelaide Crows.
Yeah, like when you get into the pointy end of the thing and the games matter, it becomes a lot of pressure. It's very tough.
Sean's head says Brisbane. Oh, no, head
says Geelong. Heart
Geelong.
says Lions.
I'll say exactly the same thing. Monks, you said any differently?
Nah. Yeah.
Let's just hope for a good game as neutrals. And
Yes.
Sean and I will be cheering on for the Brisbane Lions to come away with their second consecutive flag. Let's go over to the States. Let's talk some NFL.
He broke his ankles.
We got week 3 kicking off in about 6 hours' time, other than Thursday night football, which has already occurred. The Bills go to 3-0. The Dolphins slump down to 0-3. Although the Dolphins maybe put up a bit more fight than what people had expected. They have been dreadful through the first 2 weeks of the season. Their offense looked okay, and I've got, again, some question marks maybe around that Bills defense. We saw them leak 40 points to the Ravens. Pretty good team, but you want to be stopping the Dolphins. They did a much better job in the second half of stifling the Dolphins' offense. And Josh Allen was just pretty much perfect. 22 from 28, 213 yards, 3 touchdowns. James Cook, he's looking like a good runner, isn't he?
Yep.
I think he's got 4 touchdowns through the first 3 games.
Yeah, he's getting more usage as well. So now he's got the big contract.
And then it was just a Dolphins capitulation towards the end. Tua threw a pick, which was very Tua-like, straight to the linebacker. And then a running into the punter was pretty much the nail in the coffin for him.
Don't touch kickers.
Yes.
Yeah. Under any circumstances. You hate to say season done for the Dolphins, but 0-3.
Hard division.
Division, It'll be interesting to see if the Patriots can get to 2-1. It's going to be a tall order for them.
Well, I guess that might be their only out. Is the other 2 will probably be just as bad.
Yeah.
So Jets and Patriots. So
they
could still finish second, but it's going to be tough to be the wild card overall in the AFC.
Card,
I think there's some better AFC teams that'll potentially win wild cards.
Watch the Tyreek.
We're going to have the 0-2 Chiefs at the moment.
Watch the Tyreek Hill space. It will be spoken about getting traded, I think, throughout the season.
Like Kansas City as well.
He would love that. I'm sure Patrick Mahomes would love that.
Yeah, they need receiver help badly.
You got Allen, fastest player to 300 touchdowns there?
Yes,
that's
beat Mahomes.
Is it?
Yes. I think that's just overall. So all his touchdowns,
Passing, rushing.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
He's got a receiving, doesn't he? Or maybe remember last year he got all 3 in one game?
Yep.
And we'll go into the early slate for tomorrow. I've gone pretty much most appealing game to least appealing game is the order that I've gone here. So Rams 2-0 at the Eagles 2-0. There's only a couple of these 2-0 matchups tomorrow. Yep. Eagles just playing good football without really needing to throw the rock. It's actually the first team since 2010 to start 2-0 without having a passing touchdown. Mm-hmm. I think Hurts had 100 and low hundreds for passing yards last week.
Well, their defense is good.
They can run the ball. Their offensive line's good.
Yeah, exactly.
They got the tush push.
Yeah. Line up offsides, false start, etc. So, it'll be interesting to see how they police that potentially in this game because there's been a lot of talk about that after the Chiefs game. So
they're going to try and knuckle down on it or something.
Call it tight.
Call it tight, that's what they said.
That was the words they used because, they've they basically all 5 of the linemen lined up in the neutral zone and the guards fired off early, so they false started. So, it is what it is, but we'll see what happens. But like you said, they can get those short yardages when they need them. They play good defense, don't let people score lots of points on them, and they don't really need to pass the ball. If you can give it to Saquon and he can run for almost 200, like he can run for lots of yards, it doesn't matter.
Well, they played each other twice last year and he had 200 yards both games. So his line's probably set at 110, 120 tomorrow, I would think. But yeah, 2 unbeaten teams going at it in Philly. And yeah, it's a good barometer for the Rams. How good are they? Are they...
Adams look good.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, he's been actually pretty handy. I got him in fantasy. NFC West, are they just NFC West good, or are they, top of the NFC kind of good? That's going to be the question.
Yeah. Are they better than the fringe playoff team we thought they were at the start of the year?
Yep. Another team, is how good are they? Is my Packers. They're 2-0. They take on the Browns 0-2. They'll start pretty short price favourites in this, about $1.20 last time I looked. You do have to beware the Browns defence.
Yeah, he's been good.
Yeah, so,
Shock, Miles Garrett's good.
Yeah, he's good. He's smashed Joe Burrow back in week 1, and Bengals lucky to get out of there with a 1-point victory, and they've actually only conceded 92 yards on the ground through 2 games.
Yep.
So Josh Jacobs owners beware tomorrow. But the Packers offense has just been really nice, been able to spread the ball without having any sort of real superstars. Their best receiver so far has been Tucker Kraft, and he's got a bit of a knee complaint.
I think they're saying sprain. He didn't avoided any injury during training during the week. Did not train on Friday. Should play. How many snaps he will play might be limited. They're missing Reed, of course. So I think they're spreading
the IR, Reed.
Yeah. So the spreading the ball, as you're talking about, is because they don't have any real the options keep changing. So they don't really have any big superstars that have cleared themselves from the pack. Let's say. So that's a bit of
nice
fun there.
Yeah.
So
that was cheesy.
Yeah, very. Oh, there you go, another one. So I think the main thing there is, Love's been good, and let's see how he goes, maybe with a bit more pressure in his face from this Browns line. I still think they'll be too good. The Browns offense hasn't been great, though Judkins looked all right in his first game, and he's likely to get a lot more ball in this one as well. They've bumped him up the depth chart.
2-0 Bengals will go to Minnesota, take on the 1-1 Vikings.
Battle of the backups.
Both teams, battle of the backups will be without their starting choice at quarterback. JJ McCarthy looked like a high ankle, but a low-grade high ankle, so I think they're expecting a few weeks for him. Carson Wentz comes in to start for the Vikes.
A lot of talk about that, whether that was just a nice way to bench him. After not some great showings, probably one good quarter of football in their first
early
game.
Though.
There's also that too. Like you going off a bit early. So whether there's a bit of protection for the rookie or whether it's a bit of
legitimate medical concerns.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be a couple of weeks. We'll see. But it gives Carson Wentz. I think he's the first player to start for 6 different teams as a quarterback.
To start,
yes, as a starter,
as opposed to like a McCown who's been on like 10.
Yeah, exactly. Been on 1,000 teams, but as an actual starter, starting games, I think Wentz might have the most.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Joe Burrow, probably the biggest injury out of week 2, I would say, in terms of names value. The dreaded turf toe. How can something so small be so painful? So he had surgery this week. They're looking at around about 3 months.
Yep.
So. It's going to be interesting to see, does Jake Browning get the nod for the next 3 months of football, or will they make a play at a Kirk Cousins or someone similar? I'd be hard to
Josh McCown still floating around?
Speaking of McCown, does he want to play for Team 13?
I think the reports have been Winston was
Jameis Winston
favourite because we talked about Cousins and his contract being a bit more difficult, but
it'd be hard for them to eat his contract after just paying both their receivers and Joe Burrow. So, it would be hard. Kirk Cousins on big money to ride the pine in Atlanta at the moment. But Jameis Winston, that'd be fun. There'd be a few other quarterbacks that potentially could get thrown over there. Or is Jake Browning good? Looked great last week, stepping in.
He's been fairly serviceable for them in the past. But if you compare his numbers like for Burrow, it is a step down. So
I think if
I suppose anyone would be a step down.
Unless Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, you're probably going to struggle.
Well, I think the wild thing out of this is the comparison to Andrew Luck and the amount of sacks and pressures and hits he took, and to the point where Luck retired, Burrow's had as many, if not more, in some of those categories. So you can see, this is why the bloke misses a large portions of seasons.
Their offensive line is mud.
Yes, exactly.
That Garrett hit that he took in week 1. Ugh.
Yeah. Not what you want your quarterback.
Rattle your bones.
But I guess that's when you paying all your offensive stars and
Yeah, that's
I guess
right.
a little bit on your D line now. But it's
spend your money out wide. It's hard then to protect your quarterback.
Yep.
When you mentioned luck during the week, I did have like a weird thought. Like you got luck, you got Burrow who just get absolutely smashed and injured all of the season. They're like your, I guess, call it prototypical sheriffs of the backfield. And then you've got like players like Lamar, you'd almost say Russell Wilson back in the day in his prime, like who are those scrambling, running quarterbacks who very rarely get injured. Do you think there's something to that as well? Like,
Yeah,
being able to move around a bit. But having said that, Andrew Luck moved around a fair bit too. He was a good runner. So.
yeah, but not Lamar levels.
No,
yeah.
but
You'd
he's
think-
more comparable to what Allen is, and Allen's been
Well,
yeah,
true. There is a hybrid somewhere
A lot of
as
it's
well.
luck, honestly. So
Yeah.
injuries is largely a lot to do with luck.
I think yes, that there is that, but I think also when you're running the football, you also have more control over your body and bracing for impact and making decisions.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in a throwing motion and then you get absolutely belted,
Yeah.
and it's not even just taking the sack. Sometimes it's you see quarterbacks after they're released and taking
Absolutely blindsided.
just taking that big blind.
But having said that, we're talking about a toe. It's not like Miles Garrett went out and
No.
dived headfirst into his toe to cause this injury. Like,
That is true.
yeah, it's you overall though, you don't want your quarterback taking hits because that leads to potentially more of these kind of situations where you are banged up, you're playing banged up, and it just doesn't help. That's why offensive lines are important. That's why Hurts doesn't have to throw the ball very much, and
his O-line's
Yeah.
so good.
and he doesn't get hurt because his O-line's really good.
Bengals 2-0 as well. Nice little note there. In the Zach Taylor era, notoriously slow starters. So they are without Joe Burrow, but at least they got the 2 W's on the board, whereas normally they'd have him and be 0-2. So I don't know what you'd rather as a Bengals fan. Raiders go to Washington, take on the Commanders. Austin Eckler did rupture his Achilles back in Thursday Night Football a week and a half ago, which opens the door for Ja'Cory Bill Krosky Merritt. Goes by Bill. Good little nickname there. Who was listed as running back 3, I think, a month ago, and then they traded Brian Robinson, and Eckler does his Achilles, and he's probably going to be the bell cow now. You'd think.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll have to see what that kind of rotation is because they got the 2 vets there, and see whether they just hand it over to him straight away or whether he splits it a bit more. He's probably likely to pick more up. It'd be interesting how this game plays out as well because Daniels is not playing; he's out because he's nursing himself a knee sprain. And
Marcus Mariota, I think.
yeah, Mariota's going to play, so they should still be too good for the Raiders, but it'll be an interesting test of where they kind of are up to at the moment.
Could be an ambush
They-
game for the
these
Raiders.
are pretty comparable teams, I reckon, where they're at the moment.
Those other 2 running backs in the backfield, Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez. Be interesting to see how the Commanders fare without Jaden Daniels, and if Marcus Mariota's still got a bit of spring in his step.
Yeah, I'm expecting Debo probably to get a lot of ball in this.
Yeah, Debo's been pretty good actually through the first 2 weeks, at least in a volume sort of respective. And they might run him out of the backfield a couple of times. Texans 0-2 take on the Jags 1-1. Your Bucks, monks, on Monday Night Football had a Baker led 2-minute drill to run over the Texans. The Texans, speaking of protecting their quarterback, they need to do a better job. Their offensive line, Laramie Tunsil less this season, looking pretty ordinary. And then over with the Jags, I don't know if it's been Travis Hunter arriving on the scene or Trevor Lawrence missing Brian Thomas, but he just hasn't been electric through the first 2 weeks of football.
All the talk about the wrists and stuff. Well, he still had 19 targets. He's just turned it into 5 catches.
It's not a target thing, that's
No,
right.
yeah,
So I can't say I've watched enough Jags football to tell you. I've seen in the comments that he hasn't been liking the contact through the middle of the field as well.
But whether that's because he's nursing his wrist injury or something, I don't know. It'd be interesting. The funny thing out of this, I think, is probably the Caleb Williams meme, the stats pre and post. Shroud trying to aurify me a little bit and say, hey, learn up, etc. Because he's been dreadful since that happened. Since his rookie year. But having said that, go back to our previous point about offensive lines. That's probably where you can see why Shroud hasn't been as good as had been in the past.
Texans defense is good though, so it'll be interesting to see how they go against the Jags. I think this will be relatively low scoring.
Yep.
Jets are 0-2. They go to Tampa to take on the Bucks 2-0. It'll be Tyrod Taylor at the helm for the Jets. The Jets were pretty close to goddamn dreadful last week. And then, we just spoke about the Bucks with that game winning drive. You're pretty confident tomorrow, Muns?
Would think so, yeah.
He's been good. Emeka Ibuka, 3 touchdowns through his first 2 games.
Can't complain about that.
Steps straight into Chris Godwin's role. It's going to be interesting when Godwin's good to go, whatever happens there.
Yes.
Well, I think they've still got a spot with McMillan. Going to miss most of the year, so
But Godwin might be the 3.
Yeah. Yes. Well, yeah. That'll be their 3. So I think it probably impacts. It's not Shepherd, is it? I couldn't remember who the other.
Oh yeah, it is. It's Sterling Shepherd. I think is the other guy.
It was the other guy, so it might impact him a bit more. But Ibuka's dealing with a groin at the moment, so have to see how that plays out for him. He will play in this game, but he's been nursing
listed as questionable.
Yeah, he's just been nursing a groin injury, which is not great for a runner.
Godwin out, so Mike Evans might get fed. We'll see.
Let's hope so. He might get he got sauce as well, so whether they can move him around or not, get him some free looks.
Steelers 1-1, Patriots 1-1. These 2 teams are big question mark teams for me. Not sure if good, not sure if shit. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. I don't know. Too early in the season to tell. Rodgers looked pretty rusty last week after going crazy and throwing 4 touchdowns in the first week. The Pats had the Dolphins and beat them, but conceded 27 points. So, I'm not really sure. How do you see this one, Sean?
I think you hit the nail on the head. So I'm interested to see the progression of Mayer. He needs to. They've been doing more design runs for him as well, and I think we kind of talked about that in the fantasy preview. That he's actually been pretty good for stable fantasy points. So see how he goes up against a pretty name valued Steelers defense. I guess the big news during the week is Stefan Diggs is going to have a baby with Cardi B. So, which I think might be his 3rd for the year. Well, so more babies and touchdowns at the moment. But
there was another lady that said he's the father of the baby that's already 5 months old. I think so. Watch his space. He's given Tyreek a run for his money allegedly.
Or Anthony Edwards, one of the that it's just 2 kind of average teams that need to prove they're better than that.
Yeah, with another really good team in their division who maybe might be looking at a wild card if they're any good. Tomorrow's a prove it game. Another team who's like, are they good? The Colts are 2-0. Good chance in 6 hours' time they're 3-0.
Should be going up against the Titans.
Yeah, who saw this coming? They haven't punted in 2025. Daniel Jones looking like Peyton Manning back there. What's the go? If they go 3-0 and the Texans lose tomorrow, that could be AFC South. Like hate to say that week 3, but 3 games in the NFL is a big lead.
I think Daniel Jones just finally freedom. We talked a bit about how bad Cleveland is and trying to get out of Cleveland, especially for Baker, and then that kind of leads into
how bad the Giants are.
The Giants are kind of being exactly the same. And
look at Saquon last year.
Yes. So a bit of freedom doesn't hurt to have someone like Ty Warren who's been playing pretty well for them. So I think and Jonathan Taylor's still there. Offensively, Daniels is not asked to do a huge amount, and he just needs to be consistent and not turn the ball over, and he's been good at that, which has led to the fact that they can sustain drives and not have to punt.
He's only had 2 passing touchdowns, but hasn't thrown an intercept, and is 3rd for passing, and that takes into account Josh Allen, who he played. So he finished week 2 2nd behind Russell Wilson for passing yards, which is pretty crazy to think of.
Yeah, Titans are just the team that looking to improve.
Cam Ward hasn't looked horrible just yet.
No, you can see the talent, but he doesn't have talent around him enough yet.
Good point. Titans' defense is sneaky good, so that's
Jeff Simmons over there is a monster.
Yeah, so maybe something to watch out for. They might be able to keep the Colts' offense, who's been pretty potent, might be able to keep them at bay.
Yeah, Ty Warren has been monitoring a toe as well to be aware of for the young rookie who's been playing pretty well.
Falcons, Panthers, NFC South. Panthers looking to get off the nudie so far. Their Falcons defense has been pretty good. Penix, didn't have to throw too much last week, but also
run all over the Vikings.
Yeah.
I mean, through 21 passes, I think.
How good's Bijan been through 2 weeks?
He's been really good, and Algier is just filling in where he needs to. So, yeah, I think they will do Panthers easily, and that Falcons defense looked better after they invest 2 first-round picks in pass rushers. What do you expect? So those guys have been good.
I mean, if Panthers could do us a solid and beat the Falcons,
I'd
appreciate that.
That's good for the Bucks. Get some 2 clear.
Well, the Saints, who we'll get to in a second, haven't won, so it would be a nice handy lead there in the NFC South.
Yep.
All right, into the late games tomorrow. The Broncos will head to Los Angeles to take on the undefeated Chargers. Sean, you're a Broncos homer. How are you looking at this?
It's going to be a good game, I think. Chargers weren't spectacular against the Raiders, so I think their teams in comparable kind of spaces at the moment. So I think it'll be a good game. I need to see some improvement out of the D. They're a bit suspect, and the linebackers are a little bit weak last week against the Colts, and they probably should have won that game, barring another penalty on field goals last minute before the game ends in 2 days. It's ruined my heart, but anyway. So, but flip side of that, the Chargers rushing the ball haven't really done a lot, but Justin Herbert's been good. They've got their rotation of 3 wide receivers that have been pretty good. Ladd, I think, has been nursing an injury, but should be playing.
Yeah, watch out for Quentin Johnston if Ladd doesn't play, or even if he does. Herbert through 2 weeks, 560 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. Pretty close to perfect. Saints go to Seattle. The Hawks are 1-1. The Saints are 0-2, and both those losses for the Saints have come at home. They have been bad. They haven't been,
dreadful,
like laughable bad. But I can't see them winning this game.
No, Seahawks D's been good so far as well. They've actually been one of the better defenses to start the year. Yeah, against a bad Saints team, they should be all right.
Another undefeated matchup with the Cards 2-0 taking on the 49ers 2-0. So Brock Purdy, is he confirmed? Is confirmed gone, and Mac Jones will start?
You can double check that. I believe that is the case. He's going to be out, and Mac Jones will get his second start.
Yep.
I think they were
last week.
I think Purdy was close, but I think because I think they said initially 2 to 3 weeks, and this would be the second.
He's got 2 different injuries. He's got a shoulder and a toe going on. So Just confirmed there, but yeah.
Did Mac Jones throw 4 touchdowns in that game?
I think he was really good, I should be able to find it.
Yeah, so I think it'll be okay. The 49ers seem to be trucking along all right. And
3 through.
3, yeah. Still pretty good. Cards have been good, but nothing amazing probably to write home about. They're winning football games. But, I think this is kind of, again, these are 2 teams that are probably mid-pack at the moment. They need a good statement win.
NFC West has 3 teams that are 2-0, and one of them's going to stay undefeated. So, pretty crazy. And the final game in the late window, the Cowboys go to Chicago. Cowboys 1-1 take on the Bears 0-2. The Cowboys had that crazy 40-37 overtime win against the Giants. How good's Brandon Aubrey? He might be the best kicker in football. And the Cowboys offense, there's nothing wrong with them. Obviously, that defense without Micah Parsons probably got a bit to improve on.
Yes, definitely. So, the defense has struggled for these sides. The Bears are D's really hurt and banged up as well. And Williams has been okay, but another team that struggles with protection. So, I think the boys have been better. Probably should have done better against the Giants. Played pretty well against Philly.
Only lose by 4 points.
Shocker, another shootout incoming for these 2. They like to score points.
It's game time decision for Brock Purdy by the looks.
Yep. Yeah. Rappaport has got the report that it's probably game time.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think Mac Jones can lead that offense. It's
serviceable.
Yeah, exactly. Good enough backup. Sunday Night Football takes on 2 very different 0-2 teams. I would think the Chiefs go to MetLife to take on the 0-2 Giants. The Chiefs are dead last in the West. We saw the Xavier Worthy shoulder dislocation, I think, back in week 1. Rashee Rice still on the suspension list. It makes sense to maybe make a play for a guy like Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. It's interesting. Worthy's back been training, so they've ruled him out, but he could be back sooner than people were expecting.
Yep.
So, another one of those shoulder dislocations might not be as bad as first thought. But they need a reset, let's say, a reset win. They need
a get-right game.
Yeah, get-right game. And the Giants would be a perfect one there. Giants D's banged up. I think they're missing 4 or 5 starters already to start the year. So But yeah, they haven't been able to run the ball. They haven't been able to pass the ball real well. So if they're going to right the ship this season, this is a good week to do it.
They got 4 on IR and at least 2 or 3 true starters out of their starting 11 at the moment. I can't see the Giants winning this, but you never know. Imagine the Chiefs start the season 0-3. Yep. Cam Scatterboo is listed as the one there.
Yep.
I was telling you like a month ago.
Seems to have taken over from Tracy.
Yeah,
but,
he's good.
Yeah, there's been a lot of rumours about when will they bench Wilson as well. So
with Jackson Dart there.
Yeah, but he wasn't too bad, I guess, in that Cowboys game.
He leads the league in passing yards.
Yeah, well, he went wild in that. He was just throwing deep balls and hoping someone was down there further.
The moon ball.
Yep.
So Josh Allen aside, who's got the extra game, Russell Wilson is number 1 for passing yards, 618. Monday Night Football, how good is this one going to be? Potentially a Super Bowl preview, although...
Big game this week.
Yeah, both teams have a loss to their name. The Lions 1-1 take on the Ravens 1-1. We're expecting shootout here, I would think.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And, both these teams probably lost early week 1 and... don't want to say shock loss, but I think the Packers were too good for the Lions, and Ravens probably shouldn't have lost that game to the Bills. No. I think they're 2 of our definites for playoffs. This would be a big game to see, where they are. Good test.
Yeah, Electric Offense is this is the matchup of the only two quarterbacks to have thrown 6 touchdowns through 2 weeks. All right, how about the viewership? Football is king. You got the numbers there, Shauna?
Yeah, they're averaging 20.7 million views so far through the first 2 weeks, which, of course, is the most ever at this point in the season. So it's up 4% from last year and 17% before the year before.
Crazy.
So, the NFL continues to grow and it continues to dominate. And that's only national numbers. I think the international game's going just as well. So it just continues to grow too. That's NFL.
That's the NFL. Let's talk some round ball. EPL resumed this weekend after international break. Liverpool won the Merseyside derby last night to remain perfect. They're 15 points from 5 games. I think as it stands, they're 5 points clear of Arsenal. Monks, if you wouldn't mind getting the league table up on the big screen there for us. Everton did get a second half goal, but it was a little bit too little, too late. The Reds scored both of theirs in the first half to stay well clear at the top. Hammers had a loss to Palace, which means there's some pressure mounting on Graham Potter already because the Hammers are at 18th and Aston Villa still play tonight. So West Ham could go down to 19th, which is well under where they should be. So watch that space if they have a few more losses. Spurs looking pretty good. The Postecoglou-less Spurs. They had a draw last night, but it was enough to keep them in second for now with Arsenal still to play. It was an own goal, so they were a little bit lucky to get away with one against the Seagulls, but Desmond Tutu there. Wolves and Leeds won apiece. Burnley and Not Forest won apiece. So Ange's new team. I can't remember if that had broken. I don't think it had. I don't know if we spoke about Ange getting...
that happened like the day after.
Yeah, the few days after the last pod potentially. So it's interesting how things move in the sporting world. It almost feels like old news, but Ange is the boss over there at Nottingham Forest over there at Turf Moor. It was one apiece there against Burnley, so he's still looking for his first win as a manager. And they had a pretty good season last year, Not Forest. Interesting story with their manager potentially not getting along too well with the owners, and there was some allegations of some racist comments. He sort of denied it and sort of was playing it more like a character assassination type deal, but regardless, ended up getting
giving him a reasoning.
To
sack him.
Yeah, that's right. And Ange walks in there to go well. So look for Forrest winning a trophy next year. He always wins in his second year apparently. Big Ange. United played Chelsea last night. They actually had a win. All you need to do is play 10 men for 85 minutes as a United fan. So red card for the keeper. You don't often see that in football. But Robert Sanchez got Got a red 5 minutes in, and United managed to hold on in dreadful conditions at Old Trafford. And Alejandro Garnacho was copping some absolute abuse from the United faithful. They're not a big fan of players leaving for bigger money, particularly Garnacho, who I think people saw as maybe a little bit overpaid potentially in his time at United. He actually didn't get on for Chelsea there, and check out the chant online if you want. I think it was the same one that Carlos Tevez copped back in the day when he left United for Man City. Fellow countryman Argentinian there. But United getting a win, and Fulham beat Brentford last night. So a massive game tonight with Arsenal taking on City. Who can keep up with
who can finish second
with Liverpool? Yeah, is it just a race for second? It's certainly looking more and more like that as the season progresses. But we've got a table there. Should I quickly run through it? Sure. Liverpool unbeaten on top, 15 points from 5 games. Spurs for now sitting second with Arsenal a game in hand. Palace, as it stands, sitting in 4th. Bournemouth got one up their sleeve tonight into Chelsea, Fulham, Sunderland, Everton. United sneak into the top 10. Leeds, City, big loss if they lose tonight to Arsenal, only on 6 points. Newcastle, Brighton, not Forest all on 5. Burnley, Brentford on 4. And then in the drop zone, as it stands, West Ham 4, Villa 3, and 0 from 5 games for Wolverhampton. They're in deep shit early on, you would think. So we'll continue to watch the EPL season as it plays out. I really hope it's not halfway through the year and give the trophy to Liverpool already, but definitely through the first 5 games, it's looking a bit like that, isn't it?
A little bit. We'd like a competitive top of the table.
Well, that was going to be my question. Are we going to start having the conversation about when will they actually lose? Are they that far ahead and that dominant?
Yeah, can you have a look at their run? They play Palace, Palace have been good. Maybe they could jag a point. I can't see them actually losing to Crystal Palace. Get us a Liverpool fixtures if you wouldn't mind, because we really want to see when do they play Arsenal, when do they play Spurs, when do they play City. I guess Chelsea potentially. Anyone big in the next month? So Palace next week. Chelsea. There you go. Chelsea 5 October. That is a Premier League game. United. That used to be a good fixture, but at home,
Aston Villa.
They've got some hard games up there. Brentford sneaky good. Villa should be good, but haven't shown it just yet. They go away to Man City. Mm-hmm. That's 10th of November.
Not Forest. Yeah, Arsenal's
not for ages. Yeah.
I'd be interested. I don't want to say it, but it'd be interesting to see if the deeper season goes, and we'll just start talking about an undefeated season. I don't think it's too long. I don't think, but we're only 5 games in, and they're looking pretty hot as it is.
Yeah, but I can see a world where they lose 3 or less. Yeah, for sure. Let's hope it doesn't. For the sake of the league.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they won the league last year pretty comfy. And then they bring in Wirtz and Ekateka.
Pay to win, bro. It's pay to win.
They're better than they were last year. You filtered out the Champions League games.
Yeah.
Arsenal's not till January.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. So Spurs is around Christmas there, 21st of December. They have to travel to Spurs. But if you go back up, it's Chelsea in a couple of weeks. That'll be massive. United maybe, but then at
City.
At City. That's early Monday, November 10th for us. So that's still nearly 2 months away.
Yep.
Who knows? Chelsea. They have to go to Stamford Bridge to try and beat them. Chelsea definitely did their best with 10 men overnight. All right, let's get into a final round. One of the biggest boxing events in recent memory happened last week at Allegiant Stadium, the home of the Las Vegas Raiders, and it was Canelo Alvarez taking on Terence Crawford, and Terence Crawford keeps his undefeated record in check. 41-0 goes to 42-0, I believe. It was actually the first time since 2013, so the first time in 12 years that Bud Crawford had started as the underdog, which is obviously testament to how good Canelo Alvarez is. And also the first fight under Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh's new fight promotion, which has been spoken about for many, many years, but they actually made it happen. Sean, you watch all of this?
Yep.
Yeah. What was your thoughts on this fight?
It was pretty interesting. Whether Crawford showed that Canelo maybe was aged a bit, or whether he was just too good and shut down the main things, or Canelo probably wasn't ready to handle it and maybe hoped for the right hand to land more because he was kind of loading up on it. Because, he pushed Crawford back the entire fight, and Crawford just jabbed him and got the right angles to be able to land and counter and, pile on the rounds. And Canelo kind of just seemed to want to load up on the right hand and try to create space. It was a very tactical masterclass from both. The two best boxers potentially on the planet. You could see the tactical level. It was, I can't remember which prelim fight it was. It might have been the super middleweights there with Mbil and Martinez. Is that right?
Mbili, I think maybe, and Martinez.
Yeah. They basically just touched foreheads and then threw punches the entire fight. So a completely different style of fight as a comparison, if you will. So it was pretty cool, and it was not something you see often, where you've got a 2-weight division undisputed champ coming up to fight another undisputed champ. So Crawford, the only man to become a 3-division undisputed champ in the modern era, gets all Canelo's belts. I think he gave the actual belts back to Canelo so he can keep the keepsakes. But
like a sign of respect kind of thing?
Yes, yeah. But the actual champion of those divisions currently is Crawford. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty interesting. Supposedly they'll split 200 million in purse from it. So that's a while. But having said that, it was significantly less viewership on Netflix than Tyson Paul was.
That's a joke. That's for me a real big problem.
It was like a fifth of the viewership. That's what Netflix said,
isn't it?
A fifth.
Yeah, but I guess
it's a bit gimmicky at the moment now, isn't it?
Yeah, But Mike Tyson's Mike Tyson, though.
That is true. That is true.
Everyone's heard of Mike Tyson.
Sure, but that it does show that like actual boxing hardcores maybe a little bit few and far in between to guys that are just interested in storylines. I was watching the Raiders Chargers at Allegiant Stadium the next day, and they panned to Terrence in the crowd. He looked pretty good.
Yep.
So up and about, less than 24 hours. Interesting to see the stadium transformation as well.
Yeah, they have quickly turned around.
From boxing to football, the next day. Terrence is in, you can start probably talking about, GOAT kind of stuff. It's obviously hard in boxing, but the bloke hasn't lost. Goes to
record's awesome.
Goes to 42-0. He is 37, so I do wonder how many more fights he will take. Obviously, still at the top of his game, and he's 1987 vintage. He turns 38 next week.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I was interested considering. I would have thought Canelo probably would have a rematch clause in that, whether that is going to be the case.
Well, Canelo's younger than him, which is crazy because Canelo's fought so much.
Yes.
But a couple of years younger for Canelo. Maybe they run it back.
Yeah.
If they want to split up 200 mil again.
Because, usually if the champ loses, they get the rematch clause straight away. So, but again, I don't know if this was more just like a super fight they were creating for the sake of it. Just to essentially to prove who was the best. So, yeah.
When Canelo fought Bivol, he went up a fair bit, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he had to go
up to
light
heavyweight. Yeah,
light heavyweight. Yeah, so that's it. That's another
giving up a decent amount of reach in that.
Yeah, that's a fair asterisk there. And then his only other loss, you might have heard of him, Floyd Mayweather. Back in 2013. So
and they asked him, he's like, who was better out of the two, and he said Crawford was better.
Wow, so that's massive. Props for Terence Crawford.
But having said that, he fought Floyd sort of early in his career, and was one of his first real big step ups too.
Yep.
So
he was 23 when he fought Floyd, which is pretty crazy. But big event for boxing. Cool to see it free on Netflix. Shame about the viewership being dwarfed by Paul versus Tyson, but I think ability to sell a fight, you do have to hand it to Jake Paul. That's for sure. All right, UFC 320 is a couple of weeks away, but we'll preview it now. Yep. It's going to have 2 title fights and then some fun other fights. We'll talk about the 2 title fights first. Light heavyweight running it back, Magomed Ankalaev taking on Alex Pereira. What do we reckon here? Pereira, a little bit of a shock loss last time around to Ankalaev.
Yeah, the reports are leading into that first fight that maybe he was partying and traveling too much. And if he followed his socials, or you see he was popping up all over the place. So whereas comparison to this fight, it's been quiet the last 6 months. So whether he's taking this one very seriously, it'll be Pereira could just kind of fell off in that last fight. And then whether that was because he was just being shut down so much for what he wanted to do, or whether, he was off. It'd be interesting to see how he comes back. It's a very fun fight. I'm very interested to see what it looks like, whether we get a slightly better version of Pereira, noting, of course, that he's not getting any younger.
No, he's 38, I think. I don't know if we'd be partying, because I don't think he actually drinks anymore.
No, but the idea, like, he's traveling at events and things all the time. He,
not training.
You can see him, like, he was doing everything. He was doing all the side quests, essentially. So that was the main thing. Whereas, it's been, as a comparison, it's been a very quiet training camp.
Ankalaev is 33. He's another one of the Dagestani fighters, and that was his first time being champion after getting the win at UFC 313 via unanimous decision. So he'll be looking to defend, and then it's one of the scariest blokes in the world he comes up against in Alex Pereira. Yep. Do you remember a match from 313, that fight? It went the distance. Did they bash each other up? I don't recall too much.
Pereira didn't throw as much as he'd expect him to.
Bit gun shy.
Yeah, it felt gun shy, and whether that was the worry with the takedowns, but he tried a bunch of takedowns and defended them pretty well. It was just a fight. It's probably the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, I hate to say the boring word when it comes to fights.
I don't think it was boring. I just, again, it was more technical than you thought it'd be. And
it wasn't a war.
You thought Pereira might throw more. He seemed overly cautious, and maybe there's a lot of reasons for that. And so there wasn't as many engagements as you would have thought in a 5-round fight that went to a decision.
Co-main will be Merab Dvalishvili taking on Corey the Sandman Sandhagen for the bantamweight title. Merab is 34. He's only 5'6", and he's got a pretty good...
He's bantamweight, so...
Yeah, well, that's true. But 5'6" at bantamweight is still small-ish. Sandhagen is 5'11", for comparison. What was I going to say? Dvalishvili is starting to get a pretty crazy win streak now. Hasn't lost since 2018, and recent scalps include Sugar Sean, Umar Nurmagomedov, Henry Cejudo, Peter Yan, Jose Aldo. Pretty good names there.
Yeah. He's a dominant champ. I feel I like Corey. He's a fun fighter to watch, but I just think Merab's just a class above. So that's kind of where I'm seeing it going.
I'm just going to get where Merab is pound for pound at the moment. He's 3. So the only guys ahead of him are Makachev and Ilya Topuria. Marcus, would you mind actually just grabbing some odds if you can find them? I know it's a couple of weeks away, so they may actually not have them just yet. But yeah, I'd imagine the first fight will, if you can find them, will be pretty even, and then the Merab fight should be starting. He'd be short.
Yeah, Merab is short. $1.23. Sandhagen is out at $4.05.
This surprises me though.
Ankalaev is the favourite at $1.44, and there's a bit of a gap between him and Pereira, who's sitting at $2.74.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I thought Ankalaev might start as a slight favourite, but that's a strong favourite 2 weeks out. Interesting stuff. We've also got some fun fights on the main card. So light heavyweight, Yuri Prohaska taking on Khalil Roundtree. A few guys that have fought the aforementioned light heavyweights. How do we like the look of this one?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. If you kind of pick what's going to turn into a war out of these cards, of this main card, this is the fight you're probably looking at where these guys will throw and scrap. Roundtree's basically hard as granite. And Yuri has
Needs to get a bit of consistency back.
Yeah, has a few knockouts, of course, on his resume of late. So
It's just Pereira that's beaten him.
Yeah.
having said that, it is just Pereira. So yeah, I think this will be a good close, bit of a battle, and I'm actually leaning a little bit towards Roundtree in this, but we will see.
Do you reckon winner gets next man up on the winner?
Be pretty close.
Yeah.
I'd say if Pereira wins again, maybe not. But if not, then yeah, that's matchups that haven't happened as much.
Some other fun fights at featherweight. Josh Emmett taking on Yusuf Zalal, and at middleweight, Abuyapisan Magomedov takes on Joe Pfeiffer. My apologies there, Mr. Magomedov, on whatever I said for your first name. That'll be a couple of weeks away, so that's grand final day for NRL. So if you were that way inclined to think of having maybe a few Sunday afternoons squee moi mois, you could watch the fights into the grand final, into a public holiday on Monday. Put that in your calendars for a couple Sundays' time. Should we wrap it up with some F1?
Yes, we might as well finish with F1.
Sebastian Vettel.
So live, we're 27 laps into 51 at Baku. Max Verstappen, pretty handy lead as of now. But Sean Monks, you're our F1 gurus. What's been happening in the F1 world?
Yeah, I guess the only GP we've missed is Monza. It was a pretty straightforward race. Max was really good, dominated, won that race. Lando finished second, Oscar was third. The probably interesting story out of this was they pitted Oscar first and then Lando second, and then Lando's stop was really slow, so Oscar overtook him. So there's a bit of team orders to switch the positions around, and they created a bit of hoopla. But I think it had kind of all settled down, and it's probably much ado about nothing. But, as Piastri homers here, we probably like, why? Like, they stuffed him up, blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah.
Beat him on the track, etc. But, the team's just like, hey, we did you the solid to get you in first. So, do your teammate the solid. Because if they'd done it the right way around, you would have got the slower stop, I think, is the thinking. So, it didn't hurt Oscar too much because it was only, I think a 2 to 3 point difference between second and third, so not a huge out. But we led into Baku, and I think I've mentioned it with all the crashes, or 6 crashes in quali yesterday. Really threw out the order. We had Lando and Oscar starting 7th and 9th, and Max is just maxing, was on first. Unfortunately, as we alluded to, Oscar's out of this race after false starting the start and then being at their back of the pack and just overcooking it into, I think, the 4th turn and hit the wall, which is a bit of a tough corner at the moment in this race. And then that's led into where we are now, where looks like Sainz and Lawson have slid down. They both have pitted, though, whereas the top 5 runners haven't. So likelihood the next pit window, which probably won't be too far away, the one stopping, they will slide back and come back into the picture. So I think the main thing is to see where, I guess, Lando finished up and the damage limitations and that points difference. Because, I think what they're saying is the difference between, because Leclerc pleaded as well, the difference between Norris and Leclerc is the battle, which at the moment is 10 seconds. So he would come out, if my math is right, behind where Leclerc is, if he pits. So, to go on to the hards a bit later than the others. So, it's a bit, I guess, disappointing as Australian fans for this race. I was actually looking forward to this. Oscar, before crashing in qualifying, was on for a bit of a heat of a lap, so he looked like he was right on it, and I believe he won this race last year too. So, it's a bit unfortunate, and we'll see how that plays out.
It makes things really interesting from a standings perspective because he's not going to get pipped by Lando this week, but he's only got 31 points ahead of him. So Lando, as it stands, is 4th. So if he podiums, he's going to be really nipping at his heels, that's for sure.
I think the big one out of this as well is Sainz and Williams. They were able to qualify in front row. So again, working out the order as everyone goes through the pit stops. Hopefully Sainz is aiming for a podium finish in that Williams as well.
Well, the best Sainz finish this year is 8th. and through the last sort of 2 months of racing has done sweet FA.
Yeah, that's it. So Human and Albon as well.
Yeah, and Albon, I saw
In
that
the
before.
Williams car is-
He drove into Colapinto and got a penalty, probably of the 10-second variety coming up. So they're saying 19 seconds average loss on a pit stop. So, if 5-2-5, they would slide down significantly. I'm just going from Russell there. Like Russell will probably go down to almost to where Hadja is, I think, based on that math. So it's a big slide. With the cars kind of all bunched up a little bit because they're in a bit of a DRS train, as you will.
It's a cool street circuit, isn't it? Hey, the government house and
it is the narrows. They have that around the castle there. It's about 7 meters, as we see Hadja go in for pitting, so it might be a bit of a start there. But it goes very tight around there. It's 7 meters, as they say, which doesn't look like much when a big fat F1 car goes through there. But they have the longest straight in F1 where they can wind the engines all the way out and get max speed, and then a tight twisty turn on the back of the course.
Moving forward, we head to Singapore and then Coda.
Yes.
So
Brazil.
Bit of a US tour there, isn't it?
yeah, we've still got two American races upcoming before finishing off in the Middle East.
Well, that's 4 in North America.
Yeah, Mexico.
Well, sorry, 4 in
the Americas.
The Americas. Yeah,
Mexico and Brazil upcoming.
Yep. For finishing in Abu Dhabi.
Well, hopefully Piastri is all good physically. It didn't look like a big crash. And,
I checked it. He was sitting in the corner with on his phone. He had the live stream of the race going on. He had his legs up just watching them as they go around. So, which has become a pretty regular thing at the racetracks. If you crash out, you sit on. I think Leclerc did it a couple of weeks ago. You just sit on the hill, watch the race, and comment. Think about the fact that you're not in it.
Very good. All right. Anything else to cover?
I did see my point on Wentz. I did get an answer to that. It was 6. He's the only quarterback to have start for 6 different teams in 6 different years consecutively.
Yep. So there's been quarterbacks that have done it, but not in consecutive years. That is pretty wild. So it's on the 1-year deals everywhere.
There's Piastri sitting there watching. Go back to that. I'm
interested now as to who these 6 teams are, because I've got memories of him at Philly and at Washington. All right.
Yeah, look at that.
Colts in between, Rams, Chiefs. That's right, backup. He was the starter last year when the Broncos smacked the crap out of him, I think, in week 18. There you go. So 6 consecutive years starting quarterback for 6 different teams for the former 2nd overall pick back in 2016. There you go. There's a bit of trivia for you. All right, this is On The Esky. It's an Aussie sports podcast. We like our Aussie sport. We like our US sport. We like to have a bit of a laugh and a dribble on a Sunday night. We won't be podding for about 3 weeks, I think, because
we'll see if we can fit something in between somewhere. If we
potentially. If not, we'll wrap up UFC 320. We'll look back on the NRL Grand Final. We'll be a few weeks post the AFL, but it won't hurt to have a look there. And the NBA is a month away as of today. So we
didn't have the notes, but Josh Giddey signed with the Bulls on a big deal too.
Nice.
So he's staying around.
Yeah, after his season last year, deserves a fair payday. Does old Josh Giddey. All right, we'll see you when we see you. Probably going to be a few weeks away. Check out the app wherever you get your podcasts, or hit the subscribe button if you're finding us here on YouTube for the first time. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Done.